Belfast came out in 2021, was directed by Kenneth Branagh, and is about a kid played by Jude and his family as he navigates his childhood and the struggles of living in Belfast during the 1960s. So this is one of the Oscar contenders for this year, and so I went and decided to watch it. I haven't been a huge fan of Branagh, especially since he left Shakespeare. I didn't think Murder on the Orient Express was very good. I thought Death on the Nile was a good improvement on that, but even his more serious stuff like this, it always kind of ticks me in these little ways, which I'll get into. But what this movie really felt like to me was kind of like Jojo Rabbit, but done with a lot less ingenuity. Because, as you can probably tell from the synopsis I just gave, the setup is very similar. You have a kid just kind of going through his childhood, very innocent, but in this very dark backdrop. During the 1960s, Belfast was in riots over Protestantism, and I mean this was a pretty big dispute in Ireland at the time, but Belfast was kind of like the epicenter of this whole thing. But that's obviously not Nazi Germany levels of terror. So some things I did like in this movie. I did enjoy the score. I thought the sound choices were really good here. A lot of era-specific music that worked out really well. Although there is one like musical segment where there's like a dance number that kind of just comes out of nowhere, and there's a lot of weird stuff that comes out of nowhere. But I also I did enjoy the performances. Jamie Dornan from 50 Shades of Grey is actually good in this movie. The young talent Jude is very good in the lead role. He definitely carries the movie, and if he didn't do as well as he did, this movie would be laughably unwatchable. But luckily he saves it a little bit. The cinematography, the set design are both also very good. The way this era is constructed, obviously there was a lot of care put into getting this era right, getting the feeling of it right, and you really do get the feeling of the time setting of the movie. It's just the setting of Belfast itself, you kind of get the sense of the cultural surroundings and everything that's going on, but you never really come to care that much about the city as a place and as the home of this family. Like, you understand that it's where all their relationships are rooted and that's where their lives are, but a lot of this movie's emotional core rides on that relationship between Jude Hill's character and this town, this city. But you never really feel like he has that deep of a connection to Belfast, and especially because we as the audience don't have that deep of a connection to Belfast. It's kind of just a place where this story's taking place. There's nothing real special about it. Like, this could be taking place somewhere else. Like, he can move, and many of the events of this story are going to stay the same. There's going to be the same kind of struggles and coming-of-age drama happening in this kid's life, regardless of whether he's in this war-torn area or if he's in Australia, like how they talk about going to in the movie. I already talked about the weird dance number that's in the middle of this, but there are a number of weird scenes and things that kind of just were in this movie for seemingly no reason and didn't add anything, but also kind of took away from the center of the story. Like, the final shot is a good example. It's not really a spoiler, but like, it feels like as you get into the end of this movie, it ends like several times. Like, oh, that's the last shot. They're going away. Oh, that's the last shot. No, that's not the last shot. Oh, there's this shot of Judi Dench for some reason. Like, it feels very out of place. And there's all these weird things that feel very out of place. There's use of color. Even though the movie's largely in black and white, there's like color on certain elements, which that's dangerous to do because it can very easily pull you out of a movie that is in black and white. It's only been done well a couple of times, and I see what they were trying to do with it here, but I don't think it was really necessary, especially because the element of entertainment, which the color thing was highlighting, didn't end up being that huge of a thing in the movie. It seemed to me more like an appeal to the Academy, really, because that's one of the things they like. They like to see movies about the importance of movies. And so that seemed like huge Oscar bait. Yeah, so cutting to random stuff, drawn out stories from the kids' relatives and stuff that lead into nothing or go nowhere, weird subplots with the sister character and with the brother character that kind of flesh out those characters a little bit, and yeah, it kind of makes it feel more like a tight-knit family. But there's just a lot of stuff in this movie that is baffling why it's in it. I think there's just too much of the stuff that we don't care about and not enough of the stuff that we actually do care about as an audience. And so that's why we never feel connected to this town, because we aren't shown enough of our main character's relationship to this town. Instead, we have 20-minute tangents on robbing a candy store. Like, there's just so much unnecessary stuff that's so emphasized over stuff that needed more development. Like, there are characters that have no arc in this movie, and it feels like it struggled to get to 90 minutes, even though there's so much untapped potential that they could have stretched out in the characters that we should have cared about more. So I don't know. There's also a 3-month time jump at the end that kind of undoes a lot of what has been set up, which time jumps, they tend to do that, and it's not a good idea to do that so late in the movie, like right before the ending. I don't know. It wasn't the greatest movie. I don't think it deserved the nominations it got to the degree it got them. But yeah, I think this was just a movie. Like, I don't think it was terrible. I don't think it was great though. So I'm going to give Belfast 5 out of 10. It hurts me to give a movie a 5. I think it's my least favorite rating to give it, because it's nothing. Like, a movie that is a 1 is at least going to be like hilariously bad. And a movie that's like a 6 at least, there's like some effort there. But this movie just like, it was just, I kind of don't feel changed after seeing it, and I don't really feel like I needed to see it. I think for people who have a connection to those events in Belfast during the 60s, for those people, it might be a little bit different. It might feel a little bit more personal, but I don't know. It's just, I didn't really care about this movie enough. Anyways, I've been Max. This has been The Beach, Maxify Film, and I'll see you in the next one.